On a freezing January night in 2022, a Boston police officer was found lifeless in a snowbank, and the woman who loved him was blamed for his death. But the truth of what happened that night, inside a quiet Canton home, may be far more complicated. Before headlines and handcuffs, Karen Reed lived a quiet, successful life. A financial analyst from Mansfield, Massachusetts, Karen was known for her sharp intellect, dry humor, and love for her family. She had no criminal history, no history of violence, nothing suggesting she would ever be connected to a homicide investigation. John O'Keefe, 46, was a Boston police officer with more than 16 years on the force. He was respected, soft-spoken, and devoted much of his life to caring for his young niece and nephew after the tragic deaths of their parents. Karen and John had been dating for 2 years. Friends described the relationship as complicated but committed. Two people trying to build something stable while balancing demanding careers. No one could have predicted how quickly everything would unravel. On January 28th, the couple met friends for drinks. It was a typical night. Laughter, shots, chatter about work. But the weather was turning dangerous. A winter storm was blowing in. Around midnight, the group decided to continue the night at an after-party hosted by Officer Brian Albert, a fellow cop, at his home on Fairview Road. This would become the center of the case and of the controversy. Karen later said she didn't feel well enough to go inside. She dropped John off at the house sometime after 12:30 a.m. Snow was falling heavily. Winds were dangerous. She watched him walk toward the door. But prosecutors would soon claim something very different. The next morning, Karen wakes up terrified. John never came home. Panic sets in. She races towards Fairview Road with friends. What they find is horrifying. John's body is partially buried in snow. He is not breathing. His clothing is torn. His injuries are unusual. Bruising on both arms, cuts, marks that don't really match a simple hit and run. Officers swarm the scene, and before the sun fully rises, a theory begins to take shape. Investigators say they found broken tail light pieces near John's body. Pieces they claim belonged to Karen's Lexus SUV. They say she was intoxicated. They say she struck him with her car and left him to die. But Karen insists she never hit him. She dropped him off. She thought he went inside. The stage was set for one of the most polarizing criminal cases in Massachusetts history. Prosecutors argue Karen, intoxicated and emotional, backed over John as she dropped him off. They cite broken taillight pieces, glass shards, and alleged statements where she said, "I hit him, I hit him." To the state, this was a tragic accident made worse by panic. But the defense had a very different explanation, one that turned the state's own evidence on its head. The defense argues John's injuries were inconsistent with being hit by a car, but could suggest assault. They point to dog bite-like wounds matching a German Shepherd owned by the homeowners, bruises inconsistent with a simple vehicle strike, a timeline that suggests John never walked inside, or that perhaps someone prevented him from doing so. Their theory: John was involved in an altercation inside the house and died indoors. Then, to protect those at the party, some of them connected to law enforcement, his body was moved outside. Defense attorneys claimed investigators mishandled evidence, lost data, and ignored clear conflicts of interest. Officers who were friends with people at the party were put in charge of evidence collection. A federal investigation was opened, raising questions about whether the case was built on flawed or biased work. The public was deeply divided. Supporters argued Karen was being framed. Others insisted she killed the man she claimed to love. 2 trials, 12 jurors, and a community split in half. The question: was Karen Reed a killer or a scapegoat? The first trial in 2024 ended in chaos. After weeks of testimony, jurors could not agree. The judge declared a mistrial. In 2025, prosecutors tried again. This time, the defense hammered every inconsistency, every gap, every questionable decision in the investigation. After 21 hours of deliberation, the verdict was read aloud. Not guilty for murder. Not guilty for manslaughter. Guilty for OUI. Karen Reed broke down in tears. Outside, crowds erupted in celebration. But while the criminal case ended, the battle did not. In November 2025, Karen filed a civil lawsuit accusing multiple people, including homeowners, party attendees, and members of the Massachusetts State Police, of framing her. She claims the real story is still buried, just like the truth that morning under the snow. Why were certain injuries never fully explained? Why were key pieces of evidence lost or mishandled? Why was so little attention given to potential conflicts of interest? And the biggest question of all, what really happened inside 34 Fairview Road? The Karen Reed case isn't just a story about one tragic death. It's about trust in the system, in the people sworn to protect us, in the pursuit of truth. Whether Karen was wrongfully accused or the jury got it wrong, one thing is certain: this story is far from over. Thank you for watching. If you want more deep dive true crime investigations, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications.